So this was a report, the mortality in the United States, published in 2020, well, published in December of 2021, so fairly recently. But this is related to 2020 because it takes them about a year to look over all of the, statistics and come up with the key findings and things like that. So if you look here, some of the key findings were that the life expectancy for the population was 77 years. That is a decrease of 1.8 years from 2019. And I'm not sure how that compares to previous years, but that seems like a lot, like almost 2 years we lost. So the age-adjusted death rate increased by 16.8 from 715.2 deaths per 100,000 to 835.4 in 2020. We know that there was this excessive death rate in 2020, and a lot of that had to do with people not getting their regular, like going in for preventative types of things. 9 of the 10 leading causes of death in 2020 remained the same, although 5 switched ranks, and COVID-19 became the 3rd leading cause of death in the United States. So you look at the ones from 2015 that are published in the textbook, and you can see there was a great change in the numbers. And here you can see 19 compared to 2020. So in 2019, we didn't have COVID-19 deaths in the United States. So we have nothing to compare it to, but that was number 3 in the causes of death. So we had much higher in that area of heart disease, and then cancer was lower, but not by much. And then we had this 85 for every 100,000 deaths were from COVID-19. And then unintentional injuries, stroke, chronic liver, Alzheimer's, diabetes, influenza, pneumonia, and kidney disease. So that's similar to what we were seeing in the 2015 table, which I think is interesting. But the other thing that's interesting is looking at the top 10 causes. This is from the World Health Organization. And again, I'll leave these links for you so you can see. And they have a way, I thought, to go back and forth. Oh, so there's like a gray line and a white. There's the 2 different circles. The one that's clear is from 2000, and then this is 2019. So ischemic heart disease has increased, stroke has increased, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease increased, or decreased actually, from 2000, and then lower respiratory infections decreased, neonatal conditions decreased, and then trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers increased, Alzheimer's increased, diarrhea diseases decreased, diabetes mellitus increased, and kidney disease increased. And so they're showing you by blue it's non-communicable, green is communicable, and injuries are not listed on here. So you can see that there are 3 that are communicable diseases in the list still. And if you look at the low-income countries, you can see communicable is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these cases, like AIDS and tuberculosis, malaria, diarrheal diseases. Now it did decrease. You can see that decrease from 2000 to 2019. There was a great decrease in that, and diarrheal diseases as well, and lower infectious and neonatal conditions. Those are all communicable causes. So all of these are somewhat decreasing, which is a good thing. But it's still a very high amount in these low-income countries compared to lower and middle-income countries. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have road injury. And in higher upper middle-income countries, you just have the lower respiratory infections like tuberculosis. Well, not tuberculosis necessarily, but pneumonia and influenza. And then road injury is number 10 on that too. So Just something to consider, and comparing these three, you see a lot of green up here in the lower and the middle, and just very little green. So it is definitely different, and it does have something to do with the ability to get health care. And again, you don't see diarrheal diseases on, well, there are in the lower middle and the lower income. You also have diarrheal diseases, but in the higher, you don't see that. Upper middle income countries don't have diarrhea as a cause of death. So water, clean water, having access to health care, all of these things definitely make a difference. And if you want to dig into this report and read through, why do we need to know these things? And it didn't include, because this was only 2019, it didn't include the COVID-19 for this particular year. So it's still pretty interesting to see what they come up with for the top 10 causes of death, and how they've highlighted and shown the difference between the communicable and non-communicable and the injuries in those three different groups of countries. So that's all I have on that, but I wanted to highlight those, and then I'll leave these links for you in the materials section.